it's Lindsay from Ink and a View. Today's topic is finger tattoos, hand tattoos. I have what I count as 3 hand tattoos or finger tattoos. I sat for 3 sessions. Unfortunately, you can only see one of them. And that is kind of what we're going to be talking about today, is what happens after you get a finger tattoo. So I will insert pictures of all 3 of my finger tattoos. The first one I ever did, I did on myself. It was hot pink, and it said, "Shh, quiet time," down my finger and my hand. It was probably 21 or 22 when I did that, and it was only there for 3 months tops. It healed, and at the time, my youngest brother was in the hospital, and we were spending a lot of time there, so during the process of it healing, I was wearing a lot of gloves, I was using a lot of hand sanitizer. It was just not a good environment for a healing tattoo, and like I said, it came out in 3 months tops. Shortly after I met my now fiance, who also does tattoos, he went over it for me and did the same color, my same handwriting, just went over what was already there, and yet again, that only stayed for 3 months. I'll insert the picture of it freshly done after he did it the second time right now. And then this is what it looks like now. You can barely see it at all. This is completely gone except for like 2 dots. And this, you can see like a faint pink kind of outline thing happening there. Of my tattoos, and I have a few, of my tattoos, on a pain scale of 1 to 10, that's probably a 9. That was the most painful tattoo I have. I don't have a great threshold for pain, but of what I have, that was the absolute worst. I screamed like I was having a baby, which he thought was hilarious, so it kind of just pushed him to go a little bit further with it. I didn't think it was as funny. So, healing process, the second go around, I'm an esthetician. Got it done while I was in school for aesthetics, so I was constantly wearing gloves, constantly washing my hands, constantly rubbing on things and touching things. Again, not a great environment for a healing tattoo. So, gone yet again. All that pain and suffering for nothing. With my third one, my fiance, I'm going to call him Michael, he did that one. It was a Valentine's Day present for him and myself. I did one on his ring finger, he did one on my ring finger. It says, "I love you, I know." Mine says, "I love you." His says, "I know." I'll insert a picture of those freshly done. So those are my cursive handwriting. I just handwrote them on there, and we went over them. Now, when we did those, we used a machine that I bought him actually as a gag gift. He always laughs at me because when I do tattoos, I use a 10-wrap coil, which, if you ask any tattoo artist, is like, what? Why are you using a 10? Who does that? I do that. I learned on a 10. I'm comfortable using a 10. When I run a 10, it works well for me. He usually uses an 8, so he always laughs at me. He's like, that's too much. There's no use. So for a gag gift, I bought him a 3-coil machine. They're only 8 wraps, but there's 3 of them instead of 2. So let me show you that one. There's one in the back here and 2 up front. lovingly nicknamed this one the Jackhammer, and it sounds like a jackhammer. It is a very, very strong machine. So after I bought this for him, I was like, ha ha ha, it's so funny. He decided this is what we were going to use to do our Valentine's Day tattoos. He thought I was a pansy because I screamed and cried my way through the first round of finger tattoos that he did on me. He's never had a finger tattoo. He didn't know. So when we decided to do the Valentine's Day tattoos, he was like, oh, I'm fine, I can handle it, I can do it. We used the Jackhammer. And he did mine. I knew what to expect. I was ready for it. Took it like a champ. Didn't cry this time. And this is what it looks like now. Mine says, I love you. I don't know if you can see that. This is 3 years later. 3 years later, that's still what it looks like. So he did mine, took it like a champ. He was like, oh, I got this, I can do it. We did his, and the big, manly thug man that he is, cried his way through a finger tattoo. Both of ours healed up. None of it came out. They're both still there 3 years later. Usually with finger tattoos and hand tattoos, they either come out during peeling or they fade very quickly, they break up. The biggest issue that we've had with ours is that it's cloudy looking. Both of us work with our hands. Like I said, his main focus is piercings. That's what he does. He also works on cars and that kind of stuff. Me, daytime job being an esthetician, I'm constantly using exfoliants. I'm constantly using different washes and putting my hands in hot water. As far as them bleeding out, hasn't been too bad. We haven't had to do any kinds of touch-ups on them. They're deep. They're in there. I don't think they're going anywhere. The biggest issue, as I said, was the cloudiness of them. So as far as hand tattoos and my suggestions in getting them, I usually try to talk people out of them. They are extremely painful. And when I say hand tattoos, I'm talking bottoms of the hands. Bottoms of the hands, fingers, sides of the fingers, tops of the hands, that's not as bad. Yeah, it's painful, but it's not, as far as it coming out, it's not that big of an issue. Usually it's this skin. Bottoms of the hands, bottoms of the feet, sides of the fingers, sides of the toes, sides of the feet, that kind of stuff. It is very, very likely that it will not stay. If it does stay, it'll probably, its quality can slightly diminish. Even the best of artists, it can look so super stellar when it's done, when it's fresh. It could be, your line work could be on point. Unfortunately, you can't walk around with your hands in cotton mitts all day, especially if you have a normal job. So that ink is going to migrate, it's going to move, it's going to start to look cloudy. If it's deep enough that it's not going to come out during the healing process, it's probably going to look like it has blowouts. It's going to have spots that are thicker, spots that are thinner. Most people have to get touch-ups. It's just how it is. I've known people that have gone for 4 and 5 and 6 touch-ups on finger tattoos and hand tattoos, and at that point, why? It's just not even worth it anymore. I mean, if you like the design that much, get it somewhere else that you're not going to have to constantly worry about it like that. Because once it starts to break up and move, and once it starts to peel out, it doesn't look good anymore. It just doesn't. I mean, yeah, you can be like, oh, I'm a badass, I have my hands tattooed, but they look like shit. That's the gist of it. So yeah, as far as hand tattoos, pain scale, I rate them at a 9. Like I said, my threshold is not that great. At about a 9. I do have both my feet tattooed, and that is nowhere in comparison as to how bad my hands hurt. Healing process, very difficult. They heal quickly. Unfortunately, you have to be so super careful because you're using your hands all the time, and it's just, the healing process isn't a rough one, it's just a complicated one. So yeah, as far as hand tattoos, like I said, don't really recommend them. I'll do them if you absolutely want them. I'll touch up ones if you absolutely want it. But it's not something that I'm like, you know what I want to do today? A hand tattoo. That sounds like a good idea. No, never gonna happen. So that's my thoughts on hand tattoos. If you have any questions regarding hand tattoos, or if you have any comments, like, yeah, you can look at me and be like, oh, psh, this bitch, she don't know what she's talking about. You may be right. But in my experience, in my career as a tattoo artist, hand tattoos aren't the best idea. But yeah, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, anything like that, leave them in the comments. Feel free to subscribe. I'm probably going to be uploading tattoo type videos. That's probably what I feel most comfortable with uploading right now, until I can get a better camera. And then, but yeah, subscribe, leave comments, and I'll probably upload another video in a couple days. Bye guys!